My name is Paige Kluba. I am a student athlete at Piedmont University. I play women's soccer, and I represented the CCS at the national level on Division III National SAAC, the Student Athlete Advisory Committee. While I was at convention, I got to attend a ton of different meetings. It was very insightful and very interesting to be able to talk to so many different people. We talked to Linda Livingstone, and she's the chair of the Board of Governors. We also got to meet President Charlie Baker and a bunch of other incredible people. We had the chief medical officer at the NCAA, and they all spoke to us about different topics that are kind of pressing in the NCAA right now, whether that has to do Division III level or Division II, Division I. Everything's so different, and it was really interesting to be able to kind of see how that impacts D3 and have these people willing to come speak to us as students and give us insight and information into what's going on. I know me personally as a student, before I was involved with SAAC, I was very much like, oh, it's just the NCAA. Like, they make decisions, they do what they want to do, and we just kind of follow along. And having the opportunity to sit in these sessions really showed me that they really do care about the student opinion, and they're not trying to hide anything from the students. They want to be transparent, and they want to show us what they're doing and how it impacts us and how that can help us in our careers. So it was really interesting. When it comes to something that was most memorable, honestly, some of my favorite sessions were the Issues Forum on Thursday and then the business session on Friday. The Issues Forum, we got to talk about all kind of issues going on in the NCAA association-wide, and we got to sit at tables with people from all over the NCAA. I sat at a table with the athletic director from DePaul University, and then athletics staff from Mississippi University for Women, and then all other student athletes in the USA South. And so it was really interesting to be able to meet different people and kind of see the different struggles that they're going through at their universities and their conferences, whereas it's different in the CCS, or some things we may share. So it was cool. We talked about things like NIL, and then what kind of support athletic departments need from the NCAA outside of like a monetary, because obviously every institution needs more money. Like, that's just how it is. But it was cool to hear their insights and just what they were looking for. And then the business session on Friday was where everyone voted on legislation, which was really cool to see. I was a little nervous going into it because I didn't know what to expect. And SAAC, we got to sit kind of front row, and it was awesome to see everyone voting and people asking questions and posing opinions and like taking sides and different stances on each piece of legislation. And it was cool to see how different people are passionate about different things, and seeing Beth get up there and talk for our conference was really cool to see that we truly do have a voice and everyone listens. And then, I mean, one of my favorite parts was when women's wrestling became a championship sport, and seeing everyone in the room like cheer for it. Like, as a female athlete, it was so cool. And I don't go to Huntingdon, but knowing that a school in our conference has a women's wrestling team and is going to benefit from this, and those girls are going to have the opportunity to compete for a national championship, was just awesome. And to see 100% of the room be in support of that was so cool. Besides that, from like a SAAC standpoint, we did a lot of really cool events, like Special Olympics. We did a Special Olympics event with the Nashville area, and it was really cool to see a bunch of student athletes getting involved and dancing and making bracelets and playing cornhole with a bunch of the athletes. And we had a conga line that went through the whole room, and it was so cool. And on top of that, later that night, we did a student athlete mixer. So all D3 student athletes who were in attendance at the convention came out, and we played games, played Guess the Song. People got into it. People were dancing. We had snacks. Like, it was a really cool experience to bond with not only student athletes on National SAAC that I've known for 6 months now, but also student athletes who I've never met before, who are in neighboring conferences to us, or even like across the United States. Me personally, I want to go into college athletics or professional athletics, and having the opportunity to meet so many people across the NCAA is such a networking event in itself, like, it's not meant to be that, but it becomes that for a ton of student athletes, whether they're going into the sports industry or not. A lot of these people that you meet can build you so many connections and help you find careers and jobs. And for me, it helped me learn more about what I want to get into. I've always wanted to kind of be an SID, and that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. And it was interesting to hear how needed that career path is from an NCAA level. And one of the big conversations we had at the Issues Forum was about how to treat SIDs and athletic trainers better, because I mean, it's long hours all the time and you're always needed. So it was cool to talk about how to treat them better, and different athletic directors and staff members from all across the NCAA, how they run their programs. So for me personally, it was very informational, and I felt like I learned a lot about the NCAA as a whole. From a student athlete perspective, I mean, it helped me understand why decisions are made and how decisions are made. And although sometimes as a student athlete, we don't think it's the best decision for us, it was cool to see the process and how they do it, and that they really do consider the student athlete perspective, even though we all have different opinions on things. It was interesting to see how the NCAA goes about it. And I think it was very beneficial, of something I can bring back to my campus and carry on into my career, whether I work in NCAA athletics or not. Just knowing how the association runs and seeing the people really kind of makes it personal. Sometimes you can think, oh, it's an association. You don't know the people. You don't know what they're doing. They don't know you. They don't care. But when you actually get to see these people face to face, who are making the decisions and who are brainstorming things and who are being collaborative, it kind of makes it more real, and it feels more tangible, in the sense that it's not just like a robotic government over there doing things. Like, they're real people coming up with these ideas and trying to benefit student athletes. So for me, I thought it was really beneficial and helping me understand how an association runs and how that impacts student athletes and how that can help my future career. In this role, I honestly had no idea what SAAC was. I didn't know what it stood for. I didn't know what it meant. So my biggest piece of advice is honestly to totally buy in, because I remember at the beginning I was so confused that I was like, I don't know what to do. This just feels like something else on my plate. But by getting involved, I've been able to see so much come to life, and not only of my own efforts, but of the efforts of my peers in National SAAC. I mean, we have a wonderful mental and physical health subcommittee who did a town hall this year and included people all across D3 and had speakers, and they're making a difference in not only SAACs on campus, but student athletes all over D3 schools. And you don't really realize how SAAC can impact not only your campus, but other campuses, and just make a difference on not only your community, but your school and your student athletes. And you can do so much with it. I mean, myself and my friend Jackie, we started the sport ethics and fan behavior subcommittee. We worked with National SAAC to kind of come up with it, and then her and I took charge on that. And although it can be tiresome sometimes and feel like it's just something else, the benefits really do pay off. I mean, now the CCS is starting a most valuable fan campaign, and to see that come from work that we put in over the summer and then throughout the year has been so cool. It's just something super cool to get involved in, and you never know where the work that you're putting in, what it might lead to. So for anyone interested or not knowing what SAAC is, I just highly recommend looking into it and looking on the NCAA website and talking to your athletic staff at your school to try and get involved, because it really is worth it. When I was in high school, I didn't even know D3 was an option. I didn't know what that was. I thought that just meant, oh, well, they're not as good athletes as D1. And that's just so not true. And it's been really cool to have been shown that while I've had my time at Piedmont. I mean, everyone I know here, athlete or not, are exceptional people, and the athletes really do compete and are very competitive. And I think it's just as competitive as a D1 athlete in sport would be. Just the monetary value is the difference, and the revenue is different. But I think all the athletes here are just as competitive and want to win just as much. And my favorite part about D3 is the emphasis it does put on academics, because for most of us, we want to have a successful career after college. And although our sport is near and dear to our hearts, we also know that one day it's going to be our last game and we're going to build a career later. And that's what's important, is being able to build a life for ourselves, but also being able to pursue something that we're passionate about. And the fact that I get to play soccer still is just amazing. And I'm so grateful for that. And it wouldn't be without D3, because I can play and I can balance academics and I can balance doing SAAC and all these different things. Whereas at a different school, I may not be able to do that. So I just love the opportunities that D3 has presented me with. I don't think I would have been on National SAAC if I went anywhere else, honestly. And that's an experience I'm forever grateful for. And I work for my athletic department at school, and I look at D1 schools, and you have to apply for those positions, go through interviews just for like the smallest position of like running a shot clock at a basketball game. But at a D3 school, our staff is like, come on, like, you want to learn, you want to do more, like, we got you, we're going to show you how to do it. And I just think that's experience that is just priceless. You can't get that anywhere else. And being able to just walk in and have the opportunity to do that is unreal. So my D3 experience has been incredible, and I'm very grateful, and I wouldn't want to have it any other way. I've had countless opportunities because of it, and I've just been able to grow as a person and pursue my sport at the same time, and it's been incredible. I'm sure so many other students can relate to that as well.